It is the fourth watch of the night, somewhere between 3 and 6 in the morning. The disciples are in a boat in the middle of the Sea of Galilee. There is a storm. And then they see something that makes them cry out in fear. A figure walking towards them on the surface of the water. This is one of the most famous scenes in the Gospels. Most of us think we know exactly what it means. I want to show you what we've been skipping over. Matthew 14, starting at verse 22. The disciples have just watched Jesus feed more than 5,000 people. Now he sends them ahead by boat while he goes up to the mountains to pray alone. By evening, the boat is in the middle of the lake, and a storm comes up. And in the fourth watch of the night, the darkest hours, Jesus comes to them walking on the sea. The disciples are terrified. They think he is a ghost. Jesus speaks. "Be of good cheer, it is I. Be not afraid." Then Peter does something that no one else in the boat does. He says, "Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." And Jesus says one word, "Come." Verse 29. And then Peter has come down out of the ship. He walked on the water to go to Jesus. In verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and he began to sink. He cried, saying, "Lord, save me." Let me give you the geography first, because it matters. The Sea of Galilee sits 700 feet below sea level, surrounded by hills on almost every side. And those hills act like a funnel. The wind comes down off the heights with no warning, hitting the surface of a relatively small lake, 13 miles long, 8 miles wide. The result is a sudden, violent squall. Even experienced fishermen get caught in them. And most of the disciples were experienced fishermen. Peter, Andrew, James, and John all worked these waters professionally. When they are terrified in the storm, it's not because they are unfamiliar with the rough seas. It is because they know exactly how bad this one is. The fourth watch of the night means it has been going on for hours, and they're exhausted, far from shore, in the dark, in a serious storm. And that is the context in which Peter says, "Bid me come to you on the water," and steps out. And now Peter's character. If you read all four Gospels, a consistent portrait of Peter emerges. He is always first. First to confess Jesus as the Messiah. First to draw a sword in the garden. First to run into the empty tomb. And first to jump into the water when he sees Jesus on the shore after his resurrection. Peter does not calculate. Peter moves. So when he steps out of the boat, this is not an impulsive mistake. This is Peter being exactly who he is. And notice what Jesus does not say. He does not say, "What were you thinking getting out?" He catches Peter and asks, "O thou of little faith, wherefore did thou doubt?" The Greek word here for doubt is distazo, to stand in two places at once, to be divided. The rebuke is not for stepping out. It's for what happened in the middle. Which means the stepping out was right. 11 disciples stayed in the boat and are never mentioned again in the story. Peter sank and is the only one who walked. This is Illuminate Gospel Insights, a Bible study app I built for the four Gospels. Tap any verse and you'll get a historical context behind it, the theological reflection, and cross-references, all in one place. It's free to download, and there's a one-time pro unlock for the full library. Links are in the description. Here is the version of the story most of us are actually living. Not a storm on the lake, but the things we've been putting off because we're not sure it will work out. The job application sitting in draft because the timing isn't quite right. The conversation with the person you love that keeps getting moved to next week. The thing you feel clearly called to do, but you're waiting until you feel more ready, more confident, or more certain the conditions are favorable, which they never quite are. Peter did not have favorable conditions. He had a storm, open water, and the middle of the night, and one word from Jesus, "Come." And he went. He sank, yes, but Jesus caught him. And of the 12 in the boat, Peter is the one that the story is about. Not because he sank, but because he got out. The question the passage is really asking is not, what if you fail? It's, what if the step is the point, and the catching is guaranteed? Matthew 14:29. The only human being besides Jesus to walk on water. A storm on a lake that experienced fishermen were afraid of. A single word, "Come." And a man who got out of the boat while 11 others watched. The sinking is real, so is the catching. Illuminate Gospel Insights is free to download on iOS and Android. The full context library across all 4 Gospels with a Pro unlock. Link in the description. New videos out every week. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.